Welcome to Breakup Cheater, where we dive deep into real stories of love, betrayal, and life's toughest moments. If you're here for honest, raw, and emotional tales that make you think, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that could change the way you see relationships and yourself. Sometimes the perfect picture hides the deepest secrets. What happens when the walls of a stable marriage start to crumble, and a single mistake shatters years of trust? Today, I'm sharing a story about love, betrayal, and the painful truth that no one wants to face, until it's too late. If you've ever wondered how a secret can destroy everything, stay with me. I never imagined I'd be the kind of person carrying a secret this heavy. From the outside, my life seemed flawless. A steady marriage, a charming little house in the suburbs, the kind of snapshot people double-tap on social media and think they've got it all figured out. But behind every perfect picture lies a tangled mess. It began with the late nights. I told Mark, my husband, that work was demanding. Extra projects, looming deadlines, things I couldn't avoid. The truth: I just didn't want to come home. The silence between us had stretched for months. Quiet, thick, like an unbroken storm waiting to crash. Then came Lucas. He was nothing like Mark, bold, spontaneous, the kind of person who made you forget about all the rules. We met through a mutual friend at a block party. From the very first conversation, it felt like we'd known each other forever. First, it was just harmless texting. Then late-night calls. Then secret meetings. One Friday, Mark messaged that he'd be working late. I thought I had hours to myself. Lucas stopped by to drop off something, but the way he leaned against the garage wall told me neither of us believed it was just a package. We laughed too loudly, too freely. Then I said it. His name, Lucas, but not casually. The way it slipped out carried more meaning than I intended. The sound hung in the garage like a secret exposed. For a moment, even Lucas stopped laughing. Then came the knock. Not on the front door, not on the side door, but on the thin, rattling garage door separating us from the driveway. My heart froze. I turned and through the small, grimy window saw Mark standing there. His eyes sharp, like he could see through every layer of my skin. I stumbled backward. Words caught in my throat. Lucas straightened up, his smile fading into something raw, a look that screamed, "We've been caught." Mark didn't say a word. He knocked again, this time slower, heavier, the kind of knock that feels like a warning deep in your bones. I opened the side door, hands shaking. Mark raised a hand to stop me. "Save it," he said, voice low, unnervingly calm. Worse than yelling. Behind me, Lucas muttered something about leaving, but Mark didn't even glance at him. His eyes stayed locked on mine, sharp, unblinking. In that moment, I realized this wasn't just about what Mark had seen tonight. It was about everything I'd broken long before. Mark stepped inside without asking. His shoes scraping the concrete floor with deliberate slowness, as if buying time to choose his words carefully. Lucas mumbled again about leaving and slipped past him, but not before Mark gave him a pointed look. A silent warning that made Lucas hurry to his car. The door slammed behind him, and silence settled like a thick fog. Mark didn't look at me right away. Instead, he picked up a wrench from the workbench, turning it over slowly in his hands like it fascinated him. Finally he spoke. "How long?" His voice was steady, but beneath it I heard the fracture, barely audible but there. I opened my mouth, but the truth felt too heavy to say. "It's not what you think." Mark let out a bitter laugh, setting the wrench down with a dull clink. "Don't insult me, Ella. You were screaming his name. I'm pretty sure I can connect the dots." I wanted to say something that could fix it. To rewind time. Erase the garage. Erase Lucas. But there was nothing. His eyes met mine, cold and searching. Was it worth it? Flinched. "I don't know." That was the wrong answer. He shook his head, lips pressed tight, holding back a storm of words. "You know, I used to believe we could survive anything. Even the nights you barely looked at me. Even when you checked your phone more than you looked me in the eye. I told myself you were just tired, stressed. I didn't want to believe you'd give pieces of yourself to someone else. I felt guilt sting me, tangled with defensiveness. You haven't been perfect either, I whispered. His jaw clenched. Maybe not. But I didn't invite someone else into our life like this. The word hung between us, sharp and unforgiving. I stepped closer, reaching for his hand, but he pulled away. Don't, he said, his voice breaking just enough to betray the pain he tried to hide. We stood in the half-lit garage, both of us knowing this wasn't just about tonight. The damage had been building for months. Maybe years. Finally, Mark turned toward the door. I need space, he said. I'll come back for my things. Panic flared in my chest. Mark, please. But he didn't stop. The door shut behind him, leaving me alone with the cold, and the echo of his knock pounding in my head. That night, I sat on the couch staring at a blank TV screen. The house felt different without him. Heavier, emptier, suffocating. Every creak, every shadow reminded me of his absence. I thought he'd come back after cooling off. That's what he always did after fights. Disappear for a few hours, then return with tired eyes and a half-hearted, let's talk. But morning came. He didn't. Instead, I got a message. Don't call me. I'll send someone for my stuff. My hands trembled reading it. My throat tightened. This wasn't a fight anymore. It was the kind of ending with no room for maybe. Called. No answer. I drove to his brother's house. He wasn't there. Days passed. Each felt like a punishment I wrote for myself. Then came the unexpected part. A message from my sister-in-law. I heard about the garage. But you should know / Mark already knew. Weeks ago. The words blurred as I read them again and again. What did she mean? He already knew. I called her immediately. She sounded hesitant, almost guilty. He saw your phone a few weeks back. Messages from Lucas. He didn't say anything, hoping you'd stop on your own. Shame mixed with a strange relief flooded me. All this time, Mark had carried that weight alone. But that wasn't the worst part. She continued. He's been staying at your mom's. Froze. My mom's. She hadn't told me. That night, I drove to her house. Mom opened the door like nothing was wrong, but I caught the flicker of tension in her eyes. He's in the kitchen, she said softly. Mark looked drained, like the fight had emptied him. I didn't come to argue, I said. I came because I need you to know I'm sorry. Not just for the garage but for everything. For making you feel like you weren't enough when you were the only one who really saw me. He stared for a long moment, then said quietly, Do you want the truth? He nodded. I loved you so much that I ignored every sign you were slipping away. And by the time I stopped pretending, it was already over. Tears welled up. But he didn't move toward me. No comfort, no forgiveness. Instead, he added, I'm filing next week. This isn't revenge. It's self-respect. The words hit harder than I expected. I left without arguing because for once, I understood. Maybe the real punishment wasn't losing him in the garage that night, but realizing I'd lost him long before. In 100 quiet moments I never noticed. Thank you for watching this story of heartbreak and self-discovery. Sometimes the hardest truths teach us the most important lessons about ourselves and the people we love. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more real-life tales that remind us no relationship is perfect behind closed doors. And remember, always listen to the quiet signs before it's too late.